Okay, strength trainers, let's move on to the shoulder joint. We're going to talk about two major muscles here, and we'll focus on some exercise, some isolation exercises as well, some compound as well. But the shoulder joint, all right, is another ball and socket joint, kind of like the hip. So there's a lot of different muscles and a lot of different movements, but we're going to focus on the deltoids, all right, on the corner here, and the trapezius, which is in the mid to upper back, all the way up to the base of your neck. So first up, the deltoids, right on the corner. All right, deltoids are, they're not super big. They're kind of just connected from, your, just at the base of your like collarbone down to your upper arm. So they're from here to here. And what we're talking about is muscles when they contract, all right, they're going to lift this way, or the back of the deltoid will help pull back that way. So with the deltoid, all right, it's in charge of most of the raise type exercises. All right, and some of those raise type exercises would be, I've got the dumbbells here. All right, a front raise where I just go straight out, okay, from the side just so you can see. All right, I want to bring the shoulder raise up to about shoulder height. All right, so I'm just going from here to here. So my deltoids are working on their own there. A lateral raise would be straight out to the side. Okay, again, so you can see from the side here. I'm just going straight out to about shoulder width, shoulder height. Okay. So the deltoids are kind of broken down into three portions. There's the anterior, which is the front, lateral, which is the middle, and the posterior, which is the back. All right. The best way to target the front is to do that front raise. Lateral, all right, does a lot of work in a lot of different raises, but lateral raise certainly would target that. But how do I get the posterior? The posterior is tough. All right, you're going to do something that's either called a bent over lateral raise or also known as a reverse fly. All right, and what you're going to do is bend at the hips here so that your chest is down. Or you can even do this on a bench, all right, with your chest into the bench. But you're here, and instead of lifting, back this way, we're going to go straight out. All right, so we're going to make a T with our body, basically bring our hands from in front of our chest out this way. So I'm going to feel that on the back of my shoulder joint, all right, the posterior part of my deltoid. But it's important that I make sure that my chest stays down. I don't use any momentum in lifting this way, all right, but I want to lift out this way and make a T and not go back. I can do much more weight going back this way or bending my elbows. That's a different exercise. Keep your arms straight and go straight out to the side. Okay, reverse fly or bent over lateral raise. Okay, so those are some isolation exercises for the deltoids. The trapezius is a lot more complicated in that it goes from the middle of the back all the way to the base of the neck. So we're going to talk a lot about trapezius today and in when we talk about the back muscles video. But just so you know what I'm talking about, trapezius muscles, I printed this out because it's pretty tough to see, but it's kind of a kite-shaped muscle. All right, it starts at the bottom of the spine and branches out to the top of the shoulder joint all the way up to the base of the neck. So you can see, all right, it moves in a lot of different ways. All right, covers a lot of ground, but you can see this portion here, all right, from the neck down to the shoulder, that's kind of where we're focusing on today for the shoulders. All right. Trapezius main function is any kind of lifting, all right, and retraction, which is bringing the shoulders back. So if you pinch your shoulder blades together, a lot of trapezius will help with that. All right, we're going to focus on the lifting portion, all right, for the shoulder joint, moving it straight back. So if I were to do those raises, all right, a lot of deltoid work. But if I were to get to a point where my upper arm, and I'm just focusing on the humerus bone, the upper part of my arm, if I get up above my shoulder, I have to use my trapezius, all right, to do that second portion. So that's all deltoid right there. But to get up, all right, that's where I have to kick in with my trapezius. So I start feeling that more on the top of my shoulders, okay? And you can do that with those raises if you want to use the traps. But if you're trying to isolate deltoids, just go to about shoulder level. To isolate the trapezius, at least the upper portion, there's really one main choice, all right, and that's a shrug. All right, a shrug is just lifting up and down. All right, so you can see from the side. All right, if I'm holding my weights like this, all right, I'm going to keep my arms straight. I'm going to relax my hands and just focus on lifting. All right, I'm not doing this big circle motion, all right, and bouncing around. I'm just gonna lift up and hold it and bring it down. Lift up and hold it and bring it down. So I feel like I'm pulling my shoulder joint towards my neck as I'm doing a shrug. So that's how I can isolate. There's no deltoid work on that. I'm isolating the top part of my trapezius. So if I have a shoulder workout, I want to do certainly some deltoid specific work and some trapezius work. Okay. Compound exercises. All right. The best compound shoulder exercises are presses. All right. Presses are any motion where I start with the weights here by my head and push up, straight up. So it's kind of like a chest press pushing out, except I'm just pushing straight towards the ceiling. All right. You can do presses with bars. You can do it with dumbbells. You can do it sitting or standing. You can do it with one arm at a time, both arms. You can do it, some people are strong enough even to do it with their hands and put their hands on the floor and do a handstand push-up. All right, I've seen some people in our fitness center attempt those before. So the motion of starting here, all right, and lifting up over your head, you can see if I focus just on my one arm here, I'm really thinking about just from my shoulder to my elbow. So that's the same motion as a raise, right? All right, and that when I get to that midpoint and up above my head, all right, that's when I start to use my trapezius as well. So I'm using my shoulder joint, but again, in order to be a compound exercise, we've got to use more than one joint. So you can see I'm also lifting my shoulder, but raising and extending my elbow, all right? And what do we use when we extend our elbow? All right, that's right, triceps. All right, just like a chest press or a push-up when we extend out. So I'm using shoulder joint now, no pectorals, deltoid trapezius, and then at the top, when I finish my press, is when I'm kicking in with those triceps. All right, I can change how much I use the triceps based on my grip. All right, if I went with a wider grip, I'd use less triceps. Closer grip, I would use more triceps because the elbow bends more. All right, in order to have a good, well-rounded shoulder exercise routine, you got to have a few things, right? The first thing is you got to use both your trapezius and your deltoid muscles. All right, you can't do just raises. You can't do just shrugs, okay? You've got to use exercises, both compound and isolation exercise. So start your workout routine with the presses, all right? Use a bar or a military press, a seated bar, okay? Or dumbbells, standing, whatever you want to do. Do the presses first, and then break it down into the isolations like the raises. All right, and the third thing I have to do for a good, well-rounded program is I got to move my muscles in different motions. Okay, so I can't do shoulder press, front raise, because those are all just moving my arm up forward like this. All right, you can see my upper arm is doing the same motion over and over again. So maybe I'll start with a barbell press, go to a lateral raise, mix in a reverse fly, and then finish with a shrug, okay? So I've got to move in different motions, all right, different planes of motion in order to have a well-rounded workout. All right, so one more time, I'm going to do deltoids and traps, okay? I'm going to do isolation and compound exercises, and I'm going to use my shoulder joint in different motions, a lot like we talked about with the different grips for biceps and triceps, things like that, okay? Stay tuned. Next week, we're finishing up kind of the whole body here. We're going to get into back muscles and then core muscles as well, abs and obliques and the lower back as well, okay?